BPI Sports has always been a massive supporter of natural bodybuilding, so it only made sense for us and them to partner up. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by BPI Sports, and if you want to support them and us, use code Natty News Daily at checkout for some exclusive discounts off any of your orders. Enjoy the episode.
What's happening, people? Welcome to another episode of Natty News Daily. We got the squad here tonight, myself, James, and Dan, and we're just going to kind of talk about Natty News and what has kind of become of this whole, little idea of ours that's really grown into something truly special within the natural bodybuilding community. So, I think a lot of people have been following this whole process since we started, but it kind of come out of nowhere. It was a little bit of a brainchild of mine, and I remember sending a group message to obviously you guys, and I think I was able to send, like, at the time, a group message on Instagram. You could get 20 people, and it was like, this is my idea of, like, okay, a community for natural bodybuilding, that a page where athletes are shared, shows are promoted, that kind of stuff, because obviously the enhanced side of the sport, there's tons of media for it, right? And there's pages like Buys and Tries and Bodybuilders Without Borders that I'm sure all of us follow. But there was really nothing like that for natural bodybuilding, which, speaking for myself, that's obviously a huge passion of mine. For you guys, you can echo that statement. And I'm sure a lot of you guys watching, feel the same way. Whereas, like, bodybuilding is obviously a deep love of ours, but it's the natural, where we fall into even more of a niche. So that's where this whole kind of Natty News Daily came from. And, we hit 10.5K today, which is crazy, right? We, we start, people forget that you always start at zero, right? It's like any business, any venture, right? Like, a lot of us are coaches as well. And, people forget that you always start with one client, right? And then one client is 2, is 10, is 15, you know what I mean? And it just kind of grows from there. And, we've now gotten to a point where, like, I can't go into the Instagram profile without, like, the tags and stuff, like, 20, 30, 40 tags at a time, and message requests and DMs and comments from, I think the coolest part is that it's from people all over the world, right? You guys are in the States, I'm in Canada, but we've gotten messages and content from people in the UK and Australia, Ireland, like everywhere. Yeah.
Everywhere.
And I think,
absolutely.
I think that is the coolest part, is that this is now worldwide, which I think sometimes, like, trips me out a little bit, that it's like people all over the world that we're working and communicating with, right? Like, I'll get messages from people and it'll be like, my English isn't my first language. Like, can you share this, or can you repost this or something? And it's insane to think that how far this has come.
Yeah, no. And look at what's happened with the podcast too, right? Like, we used to have to track down guests. Now we have people coming to us requesting to talk, requesting to share about their show. And that's what we wanted. We wanted to be like the go-to source for bodybuilding news in the natural realm. And I mean, we're there. We're easily there.
Yeah. I think that mission has been checked off, and now it's just a matter of continuing to grow that and stuff like that, and working with, companies and organizations. I mean, you take the relationship we now have with BPI Sports, right? Like, that was something that, Chris has been a fan of the page, and, unbeknownst to us, has been following the three of us for a little while, and, liked what we were doing and stuff like that. And I mean, BPI, great quality company, good quality products, and, just, a conversation that turned into, we'd love to work with you guys, and vice versa. What can we do? What can you guys do? And, we're in a position now where, companies want to be involved, right? And I think that's the coolest thing, is that, for natural bodybuilding, that there's people getting, could get opportunities out of this, and, attention and recognition.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, like, we're all, like, this is all passion, right? Like none of us are making, a killing off natural bodybuilding, like, especially from a competitive standpoint, right? Like, there's a lot of individuals, myself included, James, that, like, we have businesses, like, from a coaching perspective, that's, obviously through bodybuilding and stuff. But as far as our actual day-to-day tasks as, quote unquote bodybuilders, like we're not making a dime. But if we can eventually, grow that to where people get opportunities with sponsorships through supplement companies, or I think long-term we get in a position where we can give people maybe clothing opportunities and, opportunities to travel and be sponsored at events and stuff like that, I think is definitely the route that we want to take this. Like we this is so much more than an Instagram page already, and will continue to be that way.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was something that we would have continued to do regardless of had it grown, right? Like our podcasts are us getting, touching base with each other, chatting about things that we're interested in. So regardless of the 10K, we would have continued to do it. But now we're in a position where we can give back, like actually do something for the sport. Because it's not, the page isn't about us, it's about the athletes that we're showing.
Oh yeah. Like I think, it's funny, we've talked about this where, I've said that, I hope I'm good enough to be able to be shared on the page because, I'll scroll through that page and I'll be like, damn, like there is talent out there.
Really good athletes.
Young, old, male, female, like there's just, it's incredible. Right. And, you guys have said, are you going to post like a news update on your prep? And I'm almost hesitant to do so because it's like, man, you got like a photo of Doug Miller and Brian Whitaker, and then it's like, I don't want to post myself.
Hey, if Cliff posted you on his page, though.
Yeah.
This is true. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we're grateful to be in the position we're in, and we wouldn't be here without you guys. James said we'd be doing this regardless, but I think we would be lying to say if there was not a lot of extra motivation and fuel to the fire from the positive feedback and the recognition, that at the end of the day, the positive messages that we get, on a daily basis. Love the page. Yeah. All the time. Love the page. Love what you're doing. This is exactly what natural bodybuilding needed. And, that stuff is, it's hard to put into words what that truly means.
And from people that like to this day idolize, right? Like it's not just like the random Joe Schmo that's saying it. Like these are like the top bodybuilders, the top coaches, like the top in the organizations, like they're saying these things. So that's when like you're doing something right.
Man, I shared a photo of Philip Ricardo Jr. and he messaged and was like, thanks so much for the share, man. Love what you guys are doing with the page. I'm like, oh,
Philip's awesome.
Thank you, sir. Right? Like, it's really cool. It's really cool. So yeah, the page is just going to continue to grow, guys. Like I said, we hit 10.5. And I think the sky's the limit. It really is. I think as far as natural bodybuilding goes, we're definitely smaller than the open stream, but I think definitely in the last couple of years, you've seen it start to really pick up some steam and popularity. And I think we can be at the forefront of making that even more so.
Absolutely. I think the community is really strong too.
Yeah.
It's a great network.
Where do we go from here? We've already changed kind of how we do things a little bit. We changed the kind of content of the posts. We're doing more with that. But obviously there's a next step, right? We're not just an Instagram page, or we hope not to be. So let's hear it. What are the details?
Well, obviously one of the things that we've talked about behind the scenes is potentially getting involved with running an event. And this is not something we can go into a whole lot of detail on just yet. This is a little bit of future planning, but for those listening, you can bank on Natty News being involved with running a bodybuilding show within the next 12 to 24 months, ideally. We're not going to go into too much more detail than that as far as where, when, and why, and how, and who with, because those are still being ironed out. But our goal is to make this an event that you want to come to, whether you're local or not. And I think with the page growing at the rate it's growing and the popularity it's generating and what we vision this event to be, it's probably an event you're going to want to be at. So yeah, that's something that is in the works. And you guys have probably noticed on social media, maybe noticed a trend with what we're wearing right now. Merchandise is it's game on. We've got hoodies, we've got t-shirts, and if you are watching this, you can head over to nattynewsdaily.com, place your order. It is limited quantity. I'm not just saying that because everybody says limited quantity. We obviously had to upfront capital to get these made, as far as the clothing, the logo, printing, all that kind of stuff. So if you want one of these hoodies or t-shirts, I definitely encourage you to order ASAP, because they will go quick. And then it's on to what's next for us. Obviously, we have designs that we want to do. It's not just going to be the Natty News logo. I think this will probably be something that will be in a regular circulation, just kind of the original performance hoodie, performance tee, whatever we're going to refer to them as. But, we want to make some good quality apparel that you can be proud to wear in the gym, represent, natural bodybuilding, and what Natty News Daily represents. Because don't think that you're representing us. You're representing natural bodybuilding as a whole, and supporting the culture that we are in, right? So I just want to reiterate that if you're watching this right now, nattynewsdaily.com, it is linked in the description of this podcast. So head over there and snag some stuff, because like I said, it probably won't last long.
I like
Be
how
very pleased with the quality too.
Yes.
These are fantastic. I love how you just slide that in there. Like, oh, there's a website now, right? That's where you find the apparel. But let's talk the website, because that's what I'm psyched about.
So this is obviously something that was going to happen eventually, right? Is okay. We've built this bit of a following on Instagram. We've built this community. We've networked, all this kind of stuff. And as with anything, what's next? What can we do next? And the three of us obviously are very passionate about this. We're forward thinkers. We want to do more. We want to provide more content, more, just more, and especially more for natural bodybuilding. So nattynewsdaily.com is not just where you're going to find clothing. This will be, how do we put it? Simply put, the hub for natural bodybuilding content. And there's obviously different kinds of membership sites out there right now. There's Trained by JP, which is probably one of the biggest ones. Hypertrophy Coach has one. Revive Stronger has one, and ours is going to take aspects from all of them, probably, in a sense. But what our vision for this website is where you go for all kinds of content and information from natural bodybuilding, natural bodybuilders. And that's going to ideally, encompass show results, athlete profiles. One of the visions we have is I have a profile on this website. So you can go to Leroy Rollins and it'll have my show history and any photos that I want to post with every show, right? So if you want to go back and look at photos from my competitions from 2015, 2016, 2017, you type me in, you search me up, and boom, it's all in there. Obviously, the content that every athlete produces is going to be different. It might be stage shots, it might be backstage shots, it might be the hotel room sick lighting that you get, with the top down in the hallway. That is strictly up to the athlete. And I think that's going to be the fun part of it, is that what my profile is going to consist of to James's, to Dan's might be different, but it's all around natural bodybuilding and our journey within the sport and the content that we want to share. There's probably going to be commonalities between this and, somewhat like a Facebook profile where, I have probably some basic information about myself. But I think the main focus will be, logging competitive information and, promote like show photos and stuff like that, and having your own private album. Obviously, a forum, a blog, a place where you can have conversations, chat with other athletes that maybe otherwise you couldn't beforehand. They're, like I said, I get messages all the time and have conversations on Instagram DM about, so and so's competing, or they've been prepping secretly for the last 20 weeks and now they want to start going public. Well, maybe that's something that is talked about on nattynewsdaily.com, and that's where they're sharing their information, and you can ask questions and dive deep into their journey, right?
Yeah.
Other things like live exclusive interviews and stuff. One of the things we've talked about wanting to do is going to shows and behind the scenes, right? Like imagine being at WMBF Worlds behind the scenes, or the OCB Yorton Cup. Imagine Dan was there competing this past year, and James was able to get kind of behind the scenes with things and talk to athletes and stuff. One of the biggest things would have been Brian Whitaker's return to the stage, and to have an opportunity to get an exclusive interview with him prior to stepping on stage. And that's the kind of content we want to provide you guys on nattynewsdaily.com, is not just the basic training footage. That stuff's great, but I think there's so much more that we can do and provide you guys that will be so much more insightful and give you an inside look into what goes into this, right? Like, it's so much more than just the workouts, right? Like, we all watch the workouts, the hype videos, and that's great. But imagine, being there and having that dialogue, or being, witnessing that dialogue of someone that's, getting ready to compete for the first time, or returning after a long awaited, or a long time off, like those are the kind of things that we're going to do. And one of the things that I think we've talked about is my return to the stage and having some exclusive content that will be available to kind of kick things off on nattynewsdaily.com. So, I know it probably sounds like a lot, and we're obviously still fine tuning everything, but just know that this is something you're going to want to be involved with if you are as passionate about natural bodybuilding as we are.
Yeah. And I want to clarify too, like these podcasts that we're doing, most of the content we produce will always still be free. It's still going to be found on Instagram. It's still going to be found on the website for free. And then it's going to be found on YouTube as well. But then the extra stuff, that's where the membership comes in, right? So we still want to give out information. We still want to share and grow the sport, but there will be, like Leroy was saying, like the behind the scenes stuff, the like exclusive interviews, and then just that community that we're growing. So everybody's going to have the ability to create blog posts and discuss their journey and join in on the forums and things like that. That'll be kind of moderated by us. So it's just kind of centralizing everything, because we know like conversations on Instagram are terrible. You can't have like real back and forth discussions and things like that. You can't find information as easily. Where now, if I want to go look at Leroy's, 2021 competitive blog, I search his profile, boom, it's there. I can refresh, I can look back at it, and you can learn from all these other athletes that are doing the same thing as you, as well as when we do a show recap, that's where it's going to be. We'll put up blog posts. This was the 2021 Yorton Cup. Here were the standings. Here were our thoughts on it. Here are photos that we took from it. Here are live sound bits. Everything that we can condense into one post, it's going to be there.
Yep.
But you got to be a member to get it, right?
Yep. And like I said, if you are anywhere near as passionate about natural bodybuilding as we are, this is the place you're going to want to be, because you're going to get, a lot of good stuff in one centralized location. And it's not an expensive entry point. I don't think it's unreasonable at all. And it's going to be something that you are going to get a lot of value for your dollar. That is our mission to you guys. That is our promise to you guys, is that you will get every ounce of your dollar back, and much, much more.
And it can only continue to grow, right? I mean, as we get more experience with this, as we gain more, financial backing to reinvest in how we do things in our systems and our equipment, like it can only go up from here, and what you guys get.
Yep. So bomb has been dropped. I think we're going to close it out here, guys. A little update on Natty News Daily as a whole. And just know that big things are coming. And I'm going to remind you again, if you want the first initial drop of the Natty News Daily merch, it's linked below in the description. nattynewsdaily.com. We thank you for your support. We would not be here without you guys. And just know that there's much more to come. This is just the tip of the iceberg. But thank you guys. If you enjoyed the episode, obviously give it a like, subscribe to the channel for future ones. And don't forget, nattynewsdaily.com is where it's going to be at. So head over there, grab yourself some merch. We'll see you guys in the next one.